So there is a access which you want to give it to namespace. Okay, this is
Correct.
the just, hmm. There's access which you want to give it to namespace, and you want to give access to the cluster.
Cluster. Right.
Now the question is whom you want to give access. So yesterday we did discuss you want to give access to normal user or SA service account.
Right.
Okay. Now this service account or normal user can be a part of group also. Okay. While creating a normal account, I told you what is a group,
Yeah.
DN and all stuff like that, so that you can keep it a group also.
So where is that group created actually, Rajesh?
No, it's not created. It's basically you can say it's a flag actually. It's not
It's
you
just
can
a flag
yeah you cannot query the groups
based
because
on the group or
uh,
anything like that.
there's no API resources for it, but it's a
Oh,
flag.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
so that is how you set the group in using OpenSSL. Now this is the namespace access you want to give clustered normal user as a user service account, the one which I talked about it. Now the
Mhm.
question is next question is what access you want to give it. What access you want to give it. So multiple verbs are there, HTTP verb.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Get, delete, and all of this. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
familiar with that.
yeah.
Okay.
So just a second. So these are the verbs which you want to give it. These are the verb.
Edit and all, I guess.
Yeah. So
Not edit, update.
yeah. So these are the verb get, list, watch, create, update, patch, and delete. If you
Right.
want everything, then start. Now the
Mhm.
question is what access you want to on what access? See, this is the scope, but what
Mm.
resources? So here we
Correct.
have a resources. So now this
Secrets and deployments, pods, stuff like
yeah.
that.
So resources simple command you run kubectl API
Resources.
resources. Yeah. This is the one. Now this is the resources. Okay, all the resource left side which is these are the resources. Now
Mhm.
or you can give it resources to this command or you can use a group also. Group of resources. Sorry. So what is a group of resources? So group of resources which is something here you see API version and the group of resources like a V1 or here this one, this one. This is the group. So
Okay.
see, these are the four resources we have in a group called apps, five in fact. Okay. So this is the group actually. So so now it's clear.
Yeah,
Name is
yeah, yeah.
so you give access to the namespace. So now the question is, uh, then if you want to give access to the namespace, then we have to create a role. Okay. If you want to give access to the cluster, then
Cluster
we
role.
have to have a cluster
Role. Yeah.
role. Now the question is what will be part of the content of role? So content of role would be here verbs. You'll have a
Resources.
yeah or essay or group or all. Okay, that's a whom you want to give access. What kind of access you want to give? You will have a verb. And which resources you want to give access? You will have this.
That
Okay.
is in the binding, no? The
No, no.
user
Or okay, sorry, my bad. Yeah, true. So in the role you'll have a verb and
and the resources.
yeah. Now content of resources will cluster role also will be same thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Only the scope is role is for the namespace and here we'll have a
Cluster
namespace
role is
also.
for the cluster. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now after that, next question is how to add a to role to what? Role and
User or group
yeah,
or essay.
yeah. So role and role cluster role to uh, this three. Okay. So my system. Yeah. User, group, or essay. How can you do that? So answer is for the role there is a call role binding,
Right.
and for from the cluster role
Cluster role binding.
cluster role binding. That's all.
Yeah.
So altogether, sorry. So altogether, five resources you have to learn. And normal account, like so one is role, one is a cluster role, one is service account, the one which you did yesterday, and
Mm-hmm.
role binding and cluster role binding. Let me show you examples also. So look at this here. This is the example. This you have to modify that if you are referring this document. It's a older word, older version. Now that it's removed. That
Mm-hmm.
it's a become a V1, not a beta one.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are creating a role, and this is for the office namespace.
Yeah.
Name of the role is deployment manager,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm giving access to API group this many,
Mm-hmm.
resources this many, and this is the verb access. So
Sure.
mapping is done. After that, we are doing the role binding to the. If you see that here, this is the role binding here. For
Mm-hmm.
here, kind is equal to user or service account or group, any kind it can be. Okay. So if
Mm-hmm.
it is a user, the name of the employee which we created yesterday, and to all groups. And here we are setting the reference, role reference for the deployment manager. So this is the role binding. So after that you can check this and then access will be granted. Authorizations will be there. So now this is the way you control the user access or SA access or group access on the cluster. Are you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah. 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 Maybe, I mean, we can skip over this. Maybe we can skip the demos because I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you asked to a question, right, about how to delete that,
Yeah.
how to remove the. So I did the first part, which is generate a private key CSR certificate and then set it in the config.
Mhm.
And then I logged in using that account. I think the way to delete is to delete the context to remove the
No, no.
access.
Context, if you delete, remember that. Okay, I'll draw a picture and you'll answer this. See here. This is a this is the master,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the worker. This is the worker, and this is your laptop, which is a context set. This we call it workstation. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
context is set always in a workstation. So let's say if you delete really the context from here, how it will impact the cluster? Nothing. How
Mm-hmm.
to remove the access the remove? Getting my points.
I got you.
So how to do that? So I think if you do this automated way, answer was hidden in that one only. So you could
Oh, okay.
manually certificate, delete the manually certificate or revoke the certificate which you granted. So that admin can do here.
So what is that resource? kubectl get what?
This is the same CSR in this.
I don't show. It doesn't show any CSR in when I do
No, it should be no.
kubectl.
The
No, no. CSR is there, but it is not showing. It says no resources found.
then you have not created CSR there.
But without that, how I logged in to that? Okay. Anyway, maybe I will try the automated way, like you are saying. The answer may be there.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
can you can deny that request, or you can also using Kube. There's one more multiple ways are there. Here you see some certificate here. See here.
Mhm.
So you can use this one also. Commands to see. Remember that ultimately master only release the certificate. Correct now. So if you can allow that certificate to be generated, you can revoke that certificate also. So you
Right.
can use
Right.
this utility also.
Okay. Okay.
So
But if we create it using OpenSSL and all, will it still be here or?
no. I think see here, understand this. It got created a OpenSSL only key and CSR. Ultimately, certificate got created here. Correct now.
Correct.
So
After I logged in or something like that. No?
so certificate got created here. So certificate, the one which is the CRT. See, this is the key you have it. This user is having key, and this can get CSR. Anyone can create. But certificate generated by this key. If you remove the certificate itself, the one which you validated, you created, that means access will be revoked actually.
Got it. In theory, I got it. Practically, I need to
Yeah. See
see
here.
it.
See here. Check expirations, certificate key, generate CSR, renew. So all these things you can do that.
Okay. Can I share my screen 1 second?
Yeah.
Let me share my screen. Do you see my screen?
Not coming right now. Did I unshare or not? Yeah,
Okay,
it is
one
on.
second. No, maybe it's coming. Do you see it now?
Just a second. Yeah. But the font style is small. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Okay, let
I.
me make it. So these are the two contexts.
Mhm.
Uh, and this user logged in,
Mhm.
and so I created the key and the CSR and all of that.
Mhm.
So now if I do kubectl get CSR, it doesn't show anything.
CSR, the moment you approve it, it will get disappear. After that, you can download the certificate actually.
So that is what. So now if I want to remove that certificate, so from where can I do it?
Just a second. Go to that master. You are in master, right?
Yeah.
Oh, just a second. Hold on. You can just run this command. Kubectl get certificates. They're not our resources. Certificate, yeah. No. Um, okay. Type get secret hyphen hyphen all namespaces. This is
CSR
CS.
only is there.
Do one thing. Uh, Certificate should be there, but yeah. Try get secrets hyphen hyphen all namespaces.
This default token is there.
Just a second. Hold on.
Certificate controller. Let me show you the steps. Maybe I did not do it correctly. So yeah, this is what I have done.
Just give me 2 seconds. I'll give you that exact manually how to delete that. I'm looking
Sure,
for the
sure,
path.
sure. Yeah, okay. Okay.
So this command, where is the chat window? See here. There's a one command. Okay, second command.
This, like this.
Yeah, one by one I'm giving it. Just all these things. This is second command, and this is the third command. So this will help you to delete the certificate. So first thing, do one thing. Uh, can you type just no, it will not work just like that. You have to identify qctl get -h, just type, and go to that up, scroll up, no, up, these are the options up. Yeah, go up. Which are the resources? No, it's not there. Hmm,
This one, get the.
hmm, just a second.
These are the commands that I ran. Is that the correct
No, you have
one?
to replace with your certificate name. Every users will have one certificate name. So employee.set, just try employee.set.
Where? Here only.
Yeah, delete employee.set.
No, but what is the resource?
Just a second, hold on. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Issue.
But you said it is not a Kubernetes managed resource, right? Then how
Um,
we will?
See here. What happens? These certificates are issued with the uh, some what do you say, some TTLY. So you can deactivate these certificates. Just a second, give me 2 minutes. I'll
Okay.
tell you.
Or no worries. We can. I mean, check
I'm
it
not
later
finding
also.
finding.
We'll check it offline in the interest of time if you want,
Yeah,
Rajesh. I
sure.
will also try to do some more research. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah. Just a
Sure.
second. I'm
You,
trying to find out uh, that exact location. I'm not able to get it. Where exactly this TTY is stored? I got it now. Official documents. So, hmm, first command is this one, and okay. Let me find all these locations. Okay, these are the documents scattered.
okay.
So
Sure. Sure.
let me find out. Just okay. So let's move on to the next topic. Hmm,
Sure.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So from now we will talk about many tools which is not incorporated with Kubernetes, but it's required to make the Kubernetes environment secure. And some of the utilities are like one of the utilities is App Armor. So
Mhm.
we have to understand what is a DAC. Then we need to understand what is a Mac. Then we need to understand how this app armor will help us to secure the and system harden the clusters, and we will need to install the app armor also and implement the app armor.
Okay.
Same time we'll get into the gvisor also. Our network policy I think we have covered, so that we can ignore it for time being.
Okay. Okay.
So first thing, what is a DAC? So discretionary access control. So basically, DAC is identity based control, access control. So DAC mechanism will be controlled by user identification, such as username and password. So let's say you log into a Linux machine, right, with certain user and name and password. Now, based on the username, the assignment of access that access the system access you get it based on that username. So DAC is a discriminatory because the owner can transfer objects or any authenticated information to other users. In simple words, the owner can determine the access privileges. So if you log into Linux, let's say, and you create some file, so you are the owner of that file. So you can do anything like chmod. Primarily, you work with chmod, right? So if you are the
Hmm.
owner of that file, you can do any activities like read, write, and execute permission. You can set it up. So that is a
Hmm.
DAC. Okay, so these are the attributes of DAC. User can transfer their object ownership to another user. That you can do that because you are the owner. The access type of other users can determined by the user. Okay, authorization failure can restrict the user access after several failed attempts, and unauthorized users will be blind to objects characteristics called file size, directory path, and file name. So example for the DAC is permitting the Linux file operating system is an example for DAC that we have already.
Hmm.
Now, here, owner can get the access to the object. Object means file or anything as such. And what he is supposed to do depends on that what kind of access he has and stuff like that. What he can assign to users and group. So chmod permission, the format you understand, right? The
Yeah.
one for the owner, one for the group, and one
Group.
for others. Yeah. So like that.
Others. Yeah.
So there are some challenges with the DAC permission. So permission on the files are more than what is needed. That means in the DAC, what happens uh, once you become a owner, uh, the you get a permissions what you may not require all this like read, write, execute, whatever, and you can change the permission users and stuff like that. So programs that are running with the user's privileges has a complete access to the data owned by that user. So that is a problem what we have with the DAC. Okay, so here let's say example use cases of it like your zip file and you want to upload the data zip file to the server. So if you are the owner of this file and you have access to upload the file, so basically you can do anything. Yeah. So you can do anything with a zip file like a read, write, execute. You can do anything with that. That is the DAC process. Now we have one more access control. So RBAC, the one which we discussed, right? Role-based access control. So now you are comfortable with it. So
Hmm.
DAC is implemented in Linux. Now on top of that RBAC and then DAC, we have a Mac also, mandatory access control. So the operating system in Mac will provide access to the user based on their identities and data. Okay. So it's not like if you are the owner of the system, you can do whatever you want. It's not like that. Based on the identity and what kind of data which you are trying to work with. So for gaining the access, user has to submit their personal information. It is very secure because the rules and restrictions are imposed by the admin and will be strictly followed. Mac settings and policies management will be established in a secure network and are limited to the system administrator. So this is the MAC process. So in the MAC, what happens? There is a process X and then process Z. So here, what is confined and non-confined? That means either you have access to the confined mode and or not confined. So what is the meaning of the non-confined and confined? That means if you have set your identities, so you only have access to the process X, and even though process Z is running in those machines or some files are there, you cannot change that one. So that is something which you can see that. So yes, you can upload the zip file as per the previous example. That is very much you can do that, but you cannot read or execute that file. So this is called confined and unfined in the Mac mode. So some of the attributes for the Mac is Mac policies can help you to reduce system error. It has a tighter security because only administrator can access or alter control. Mac has enforced operating systems, uh, has an enforced operating system that can label and delineate incoming application data. Maintenance will be difficult because only the administrator can have access to the database of where the identity is being controlled. Example for the Mac is access level of Windows for ordinary users. Admins and guests are the sum of the example for Mac. Okay, so remember that when you create administrator, it's administrator, user, or guest. So that is example of Mac. So now the difference between all these access control, so this is just a high level difference. Okay, subjects and objects. So in a Mac, authorization based on the user or group, permission and object level. Here in the DAC, which is a Linux, or authorization based on the user and group, permission, zero knowledge of the object sensitive. That means here we have in a Mac we have a object level access also, but here zero knowledge of object sensitivity. That means if you are a owner, you are a owner. If you are a user, you are a user, like that. And in RBAC, we have discussed already. I think you also know that. So authorization based on the group permissions, user is part of the group. Make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what is the disadvantage and you can say the DAC versus Mac. So DAC stand for discretionary access control, Mac stand for mandatory access control, which we understand. DAC is easier to implement, Mac is difficult to implement. DAC is less secure to use it, Mac is more secure to use it. In DAC, the owner can determine the access and privilege and can restrict the resources based on the identities of the users. In Mac, system only determines the access and resources will be restricted based on the clearance on of the subject. DAX has extra labor intensive properties. Mac has no labor intensive property. That means admin work. Users will be provided access based on their identity and not using labels. Here, users will be restricted based on their power and level of hierarchy. Some of the more differences which we have of DAC and Mac. So DAC has high flexibility with no rules and regulation. Mac is no flexible as it contains lots of strict rules and regulation. DAC has a complete trust in users. Mac has a complete trust only in administrator. Decision will be based on user ID and ownership. Here Mac decision will be based on the object and task subjects and task, and they can perform their own IDs. Information flow is impossible to control in DAC. Information flow can be easily controlled in Mac by admin. DAC is supported by commercial DBMs and Mac is not supported by commercial DBMs. DAC can be applied in all domains. Mac can be applied in the military, government, and intelligence. DAC is vulnerable to Trojan horses. That's a one important thing. So next tool which we are going to implement uh, to avoid the Trojan horses, Mac prevent virus flow from the higher level to lower level. So these are the some of the factors which you can study a little bit later also. There is one more access control which we have, which is Kubernetes supports, which is ABAC. I think you might have heard about it, right? So if you see that authorization method in Kubernetes, so then we have a node authorization method, ABAC, RBAC, and one more is OpenID. Correct, no?
Sorry, what is ABAC?
Attribute based access control. So
Okay.
this is supported by Kubernetes also. So
Okay.
Kubernetes authorization.
Hello everyone, if you would like to access the remaining videos of this playlist of 50 plus more tools which are coming under DevOps, DevSecOps, SRE, DataOps, GitOps, etc. Kindly become our channel members by clicking on the joining button. You would have access to 100s of playlists and 1000s of videos lifetime access with this membership. Enjoy.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.